Welcome to Reset, where we focus on God's presence, God's promises, and God's purpose for your life. We've been in the study of Acts, and I say study, we've just been reviewing different parts of the chapters leading up to today. And today we're in Acts chapter 4. But in order to understand what's happening in Acts chapter 4, we have to go back to Acts chapter 3 for just a moment. Peter and John had just healed this man that was lame from birth. And now in Acts chapter 4, these religious leaders were all in a tizzy over it. And so here they are, they're having a conversation, they're interrogating Peter and John. But it's interesting as they're interrogating them, Peter takes the moment to present the gospel again. It's funny, in Acts chapter 2, we find that the baptism of the Holy Spirit came, and Peter's boldness comes out, and he preaches. And thousands of people come to know Jesus, and still we're finding people still come to know Jesus because of Peter's power of the Holy Spirit that he received on Acts chapter 2. And that's something that we should still continue to look and desire for, is that baptism of the Holy Spirit. But in Acts 4, verse 13, it says, when they saw, these talking about the religious leaders, when they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished, and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. And when I began to read that, I could not stop thinking about that part, that last part. They took note that these men had been with Jesus. They took note. They saw that these men were influenced by Jesus. They were influenced by Jesus' teaching. They were influenced by Jesus in the sense that they walked and talked with him for 3 years. But still they were influenced by the Holy Spirit, which Jesus promised, which is the Spirit of Christ. And so here they're still being influenced by Jesus. And they took note that they were with Jesus. I want to ask you a question in that regards. Do people take note when you're with Jesus? Do they notice that whenever you've been with Jesus, there's something different about you? There's an attitude adjustment. Like there's just something about your talk. There's something about your walk. There's something about just you, your attitude, everything. Because one is that you've been with Jesus as influence, but second is that it's noticeable to everyone around you. Now, I'll just use this as an example. It's not to bring glory to me by any means of the imagination. It's talking about Christ. But I remember a few years ago, whenever I used to work at Home Depot, and I was doing some stocking and some shelving, and I guess I was singing a worship song. Now, I'm horrible at singing and horrible at songs, period. So I probably said the same phrase over and over, but I was just worshiping God while I was in that aisle. And I remember a person coming up to me and saying, "Hey, are you a Christian?" And I said, "Yes." "Why?" He said, "Because it is all over you." And that encouraged me that someone saw Jesus in me. I want people to see Jesus in me. I don't want them to see me. I want them to see Jesus. Well, Peter and John, they saw Jesus in Peter and John. And so my encouragement to you is, first of all, is that are people seeing Jesus in you? And then my challenge to you is that where are you finding your time with Jesus so that whenever you are at work, when you are at home, when you are at the church, that people see Jesus in you? Jesus would oftentimes go away in Mark 1:35 very early in the morning. While it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place when he prayed. So his time was in the morning, that he was with God, he was influenced by God, and in that it gave him the strength, it gave him the wisdom, it gave him the tenacity to take on that day. Why? Because he spent time with the Father. In the same way, is that in order for people to know that you've been with Jesus, you got to be with Jesus. So my question to you is that where does that take place at? Does it happen just once a week here at church? And I hope not, because though the church is a phenomenal place to be and to be the presence of God and the presence of your friends and others, But the reality is that you are the church. And every day that we should be desiring to be in his presence right where we are, whether it be in our home, whether it be in our car, whether it be at work. So what does that look like for you? Some of you might be finding yourself that the time that you're closest to God in those conversations is in the bathtub. It might be in the shower. It might be driving down the road and listening to worship music and you're just praising God. Some of you, just for you to be out in the woods and just enjoying a time out there, and that's when you just feel like you are in the presence of God. Listen, I encourage you to continue to lean into those moments. Allow God to speak to you in those moments so that whenever you are out and about in this world that is full of chaos, in this world that is dark and evil and all the things that's going on in it, that Jesus can be seen in you and that they see more of Jesus than you. And that starts with us being with Jesus. So do me a favor. Just let me know right here in the comments of where is it that you feel most connected with Jesus. Is it in the morning? Whenever you're praying? Is it in those moments that you're in the woods? Is it in those moments that you're in the car, you're worshiping, and that's where you just feel so influenced by the presence of God? Let us know, and we would love to be able to know what that is and be able to celebrate with you as God's moving in your life. Well, guys, that's it for today, but we look forward to seeing you next week right here on Reset. Goodbye.